So now that we've talked about some Christmas movies and Christmas television shows that are great for the holiday but not necessarily the ones that spring immediately to people's minds, let's talk about some Christmas stories in other formats that aren't movies or television shows but are important to the holiday and important to my celebration of the holiday and maybe could be useful to you nonetheless. Of course, the original Christmas story is the one that's in here in the Bible, the birth of Jesus, the nativity narrative, and it's all right. It's a nice little myth, but it's certainly not my favorite Christmas story, and it's not one that we're really going to talk about here. So I'm just going to, it's been 3 videos. My fire is starting to get a little low. I'm just going to add some fuel to the fire. There we go, right into the fireplace. First on my list is Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol as performed by Patrick Stewart. This is an audiobook version of a one-man show that Patrick Stewart used to do back in the 90s where he would perform the entire book. He would play all of the characters. It was a really wonderful thing, and the audiobook read by Patrick Stewart preserves that performance more or less. It's a really, really wonderful thing. It's something that I make sure I listen to at least once every Christmas season. It really makes it for me. We've all seen different versions of A Christmas Carol. It's been on television and radio and in films more times probably than any other story. My favorite film is probably 1951's version, which was titled Scrooge, which starred Alastair Sim as Ebenezer Scrooge. But the version of A Christmas Carol that I most look forward to every year is the Patrick Stewart version. Next on the list is Darling's First Christmas. This is a comic book story written and drawn by the legendary Will Eisner, the greatest comic book artist of all time, the creator of The Spirit. And Darling's First Christmas was published as a Spirit story in the Spirit's newspaper feature, but the Spirit himself does not really appear in it. It's focusing more on Darling O'Shea, the world's richest little girl, who is actually a spirit villain. She's this rich little girl who's incredibly cloistered, lives in her mansion with all of these servants sort of at her beck and call, and she gets pissed off when she realizes that Santa Claus has never visited her. So she sends her men out into the city to stand guard on other people's houses to make sure that Santa cannot deliver presents to them until she gets her present, which she has requested via a very formal-sounding, legalistic letter which she has sent off to Santa Claus. It's a really wonderful Christmas story, a funny, warm, and of course exquisitely drawn and visually told Christmas story by the great Will Eisner. Next on the list is my favorite Christmas song, Happy Christmas, War is Over by John Lennon. Where would Christmas be without Christmas music? How would we celebrate it without music? My favorite Christmas hymn is probably O Holy Night. Yeah, I'm an atheist. I don't believe Jesus was the Son of God. I don't believe the nativity story ever even actually happened. But nonetheless, O Holy Night has always been a beautiful song to me, and I love it when a good singer hits that high note. It just gets me every time. But Happy Christmas, War is Over by John Lennon is definitely my favorite Christmas song of anything. It's something that, when I hear it, immediately just puts me right into a Christmas frame of mind. It's such a sad, beautiful song, and to me, the perfect Christmas song. And another great Christmas song is A Christmas Carol by Tom Lehrer, which is a sarcastic celebration of how commercial and insincere our celebrations of Christmas have become. And what's really sad is the song remains incredibly prescient today, even though it was written in the 1950s. A really, really funny, biting song, A Christmas Carol by Tom Lehrer. And last but not least comes Superman's Christmas Message from the old Adventures of Superman radio serial. This is one I've actually just recently discovered, and I can't believe I've done without it all these years. This was the first Christmas broadcast of the Superman radio show post-World War II. It was broadcast on Christmas Day, 1945, and the episode that day was a typical Superman episode. It actually featured a Batman team-up, which was pretty cool, but it opened with a very special 2-minute long Christmas address from Superman to the boys and girls listening on the radio all over the country and all over the world. And Superman brought them, for that first post-war Christmas, a message of brotherhood, religious tolerance, and a hope for peace. I've included a link to the radio address as it originally aired in 1945, and you should give it a listen if you get a few minutes. It's an interesting piece of American cultural history and of Christmas history. And that's it for this series. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to me talk about my favorite out-of-the-box Christmas media. And whatever it is you like to watch or listen to this time of year, if Christmas is something you celebrate, have a happy one.